So I guess it's my show now. It's not the Roki show. It's my show. But I would love to start out a nice solid Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Day and Inauguration Day with the fact that I'm probably the second or third most hated host on this show in the Twitterverse for my comments about how I thought it was great for baseball. But hey, when you come off a great weekend of signings for the Dodgers, yes, continue, Scott. Go ahead.
Okay, good. We're here.
Okay, good.
All right, we're back. Hello, everyone. It's January 20th, and the season is over. So it was really fun to check out the 2025 campaign. Congrats to the Dodgers for becoming the first back-to-back champs in a quarter century. We will talk to back-to-back World Series champ Teoscar Hernandez on Dodgers territory today. He is joining Alana and Clint, so make sure you tune into the Dodgers Territory YouTube channel. And then Chris Taylor also wins a second consecutive title. He's going to join the show on Thursday. AJ is also a winner. He keeps racking up awards.
Yep.
So congratulations to you. You want to let us know what your last 24 hours was like?
So last night I flew to Chicago, by the way, where it was minus 15 when I left this morning, how in the world? But here, listen to this. Oh, we couldn't hear it. We need the sound on that, but that's Gene Honda introducing me as he would when I came up to bat.
PA for the White Sox.
PA for the White Sox, for the Blackhawks, for the Final Four, for the Maui Invitational, for every big sporting event. And so he has a very distinct voice, and I've known him for a long time. He's unbelievable. So he got to announce, he kind of did it. And we went in last night. I don't know if we can get a close-up of the thing I went into. I went into the Pitch and Hit Club Hall of Fame, the Lou Boudreau Hall of Fame, along with Gene. So we were the first, I think, co-winners of it. But it was a really great event. It was awesome. It was really well done. Got to see some friends. Had to have Scott Merkin sit at the table with me, which was absolutely epic. Because when it came time to buy the 50-50 raffle, I had to give him money because he doesn't carry cash. So if you're ever going to rob Scott Merkin, just know he doesn't carry cash. And also, Scott Merkin drives like a 2000 convertible. And he drove me back to my hotel last night in a convertible. And it was 4 degrees. Actually, it said 2 degrees on this thing.
With the top down?
No, but it doesn't mean it's warm. A convertible.
Well, the fancy...
I'm like, Merkin, you live in Chicago. You still have the first dollar you've ever made, Merkin. Like, can we not get you a new car, please?
Well, the fancy new ones treat it like a car. But...
No, this was the old ragtop. I don't know what it was. But I was freezing.
The old Buick LeSabre soft top?
Yes, that's basically what it was.
Well, welcome back. Do you want to run it one more time?
Yeah,
before we start? Okay.
Run it so we can hear old Gino.
Number 12, AJ Pierzynski.
Nice smooch there for Gino.
Yeah,
I like
the best,
that.
Man. That guy is unbelievably awesome. Yeah. And so we had a running joke. So I'm on Cameo. And I don't even know what Cameo is, but where people pay for you to like
me. I know everything.
Do like a 30-second video wishing him happy birthday. So there's been times, and before that I cut it, but he's like, "Oh, is this payback for doing cameos?" So every time I'm in Chicago, I'll have him do it with me. So one of them was like, "Hey, can you announce my wedding party?" And I'm like, "I won't, but Gene Honda will." And I hand him the phone, and he does it in his voice. And it's just incredibly wishes people happy birthday and everything. So we have kind of a running joke every time I'm in town. We're going to do cameos together. But
nice.
He's an awesome fella. Thank you, Pitch and Hit Club. Some of the other people, Matt Spiegel from The Score, got an award as the broadcaster of the year. And DJ Gladney from the White Sox was the minor league player of the year. Michael Massey, who I don't think we've had on, have we? From the Royals?
Nope.
No, he was there. He got
Did you get his number?
No, but I'm sure I can get it.
Okay, let's
bring him on. He was great. He's a local guy from Chicago, so
let's bring him on
this week. He was talking about the White Sox, so how he was a White Sox fan, and it was a fun night. So thank you, Pitch and Hit Club, and it was an honor.
Okay, let's get him on this week.
Okay.
All right, let's charge the damn mound. A lot going on.
Charging the mound.
Well, breaking news. Anthony Santander to the Toronto Blue Jays.
They had to get somebody.
They did. 5 years.
Finally, somebody took their money.
What do you think about it? 5 years, $90 million plus, and a club option after that. But took him a while, and he didn't have to take some last-minute discount situation. It's a pretty nice deal, kind of in line with what most prognosticators had him getting. Many had him in the 4 to 5, 80 to 100 range, and he's right in that mix. Nice.
I thought he'd get 100. I thought he'd get like 500. I mean, he hit 40. How many? 48 homers?
Yeah, but he didn't have a market.
44. I know, which is 44 homers last year.
There are a ton of pros and cons. 44 homers.
I know.
308 career on base percentage or something in that low 300s.
Defender.
Slow, not a great defender.
Oh,
good arm. What?
Oh, someone that's not a great defender and slow got $756 million. I'm just saying. Didn't hit 44 homers either. Also isn't a switch hitter. Just saying. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he'd get at least to 100. I know there was no market. I know he's older, but I thought he'd get 500. I mean, $20 million nowadays for a player that can hit you 44 homers, that's not that much.
That was his career year, though. I like Santander. I think he's a great player. He's a great dude. He's going to dominate in that clubhouse too, Kratz. He did in Baltimore, and they're going to miss that.
They are. And, yes, the defense is going to be downgraded, whatever. You don't just find 40 homers somewhere. It's not potential 40. It's a full 40 homers. And if you go back to 2020, that was kind of his first kind of breakout year. 21 kind of had a little bit of a down year number compared to 2020. And then since then, he's just slowly building. And you're really looking at this guy, to me, the next 3 years being one of the elite bat-to-ball guys. I mean, driving in 100 runs. You sit there, he's not going to walk a ton. He's not going to hit you a ton of average, but he's going to give you what the Jays don't have. He's going to give you that second piece in the lineup. And then if Bo comes back to even a lot closer to what he was, it adds so much to it. And they still have elite defense, even though Dalton Varsho is going to start the season a little bit later.
Clutch, too. I mean, I don't know what his exact number finished at, but he was up there in home runs in the 7th inning or later.
It's a great signing for the Blue Jays. It hurts Pete, though. I think it hurts Pete Alonso.
Good question.
I mean,
they can do both, and they should
could do both. But at some point, Pete's going to have to make a decision. Like, what do I go crawling back to the Mets? Because I mean, that's kind of what
he's not going back to the Mets.
That's what I'm saying. Does he go back crawling to the Mets for a 1-year deal and try to reestablish his market, or does he accept the fact that maybe he might have to go to a Toronto? But Toronto, will they do both? Because then you have to move Vladdy.
Ken mentioned on Friday that there could be a mystery team.
There's always a mystery team with Scott Boras. Who?
So I don't know who it is, but there could be a mystery team.
Giants would be the one, right?
Sure.
Nationals, maybe?
They just got 2 first basemen, though. I wanted it for them, but they got Lowe and Josh Bell as your backup first baseman. I don't think that's happening there.
I mean, when does Bregman sign? The 2 guys that I'm most interested in now are Bregman and Pete. Because when are they going to we're getting tight now. I mean, it's January 20th. You got 3 weeks till spring training.
I know, but this always happens. With
I know, but
couple stragglers.
And then like a Jack Flaherty, where's he? But you would think that Pete. How do we know that the Blue Jays didn't offer Santander and Pete the same deal?
We don't.
I know, but let's say they offered the same deal, and Santander's like, "I'll take it."
We're going to get to Tanner Scott, but I think they were in on Tanner Scott to some degree.
The Blue Jays are the Red Sox.
But if they were in on Tanner Scott and they were going to Santander, can't you funnel the Tanner Scott money to Pete?
But we thought they would do that with the Shohei money last year they were offering, and it didn't happen.
No,
that was different. Right? That was different.
I understood the Shohei one because there was a business component that we all learned about with the surplus on profit.
But I just don't understand. If you're the Blue Jays, and I think you've been saying it, Scott, on Twitter, X, whatever it is now, that the Blue Jays almost have to offer above everybody.
Correct.
Now. And it's not a thing on knock on Toronto because Kratz played there, and I know people that played there, and they loved it there. Mm-hmm. But how do you get players to go there? Unless you're really good, which they're not really good, then people don't want to go. That's the thing the Dodgers have. Not that they offer fair market value, but they're really good, right? So people are like, oh, I live in LA, where the weather's usually pretty good. They're good. They go to the playoffs every year, have a chance to win, and they're offering me fair market value. If you don't have all 3 of those things, you have to either offer above money to get guys to start coming there, make yourself good, or you just got to hope you get lucky and back into some deals here and there.
You have to beat the market. Think about it. It's not just the Dodgers. Corbin Burns went to the Diamondbacks because he wanted to be in one place year-round. The Diamondbacks aren't the Dodgers, but they've also been a successful franchise the past few years.
You know why Corbin Burns went to the Diamondbacks?
Why?
Because his wife was like, "Oh my gosh, we can live in the same city. We have baby.
The money's
twins.
close enough. The state income tax is
Yes.
2.5%. There's a difference
There's
there
a
for
huge
Arizona.
difference, but he's home the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
He lives in Arizona, so he is home, right, Kratzy? If you could play in, Mennonite, Pennsylvania, where you live for the whole year, but yeah, it might cost you a few $1 million. You're gonna that $1 million you make up in the quality time you get to spend, especially when you start hitting numbers like Corbin Burns is talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, yeah. I mean, that's a huge. People are like, oh no, it's all about the money. Well, yeah, but it's not like they're offering. It's not like the Diamondbacks offered him a 1-year, $20 million deal. The numbers are close. You have to have something to put it over. The Dodgers are offering what everybody else can offer. What they've built out there, people want to be there. The Blue Jays, you have to make it a place that you're sitting there going, I have to go there and play. I want to play with this guy. I want to see what Vladdy can do. I know this team has got great defense behind me, so I'll go there if I'm Jack Flaherty. That type of thing. You got to make a reason for players to want to go there.
Mm-hmm. Do we feel like the Blue Jays are a playoff team? Last part of the mix here. Are we there yet?
I think they need bullpen help.
I think they need
offense.
At least another bat, too.
They couldn't score last year.
I know. Bo will rebound. Santander will help a lot. One more,
They
and
need
then
George
I start
Springer
to feel good.
to figure it out again.
I know. That's true.
And Varsho to get kind of healthy.
Yeah, he's got to come back from the shoulder and feel good.
I don't know. It's a team that needs a lot to go right to get to the playoffs.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, there's a path for them, but they need career years and health in that division. Opening series of the year, Orioles, Blue Jays, the Santander Bowl. That'll be fun. I'm excited for actual games. We're getting there. All right, we'll step aside. We'll get into the Dodgers signing Tanner Scott, signing Roki Sasaki. Alden Gonzalez from ESPN joining the show soon. All right, FT fam, let's shout out Mint Mobile, part of this show. And
New white, by the way.
Yeah, you like that, right?
No more Ryan Reynolds white?
Ryan Reynolds is still in our hearts.
Okay.
He's still a big Mint Mobile guy.
New white, though. Wow. Way to go, producer.
Ryan, we got to get you on the show before we start showing off the mug again. So anyway, you can, kind of skip some of the New Year's resolutions that are giving you a hard time and just say, can I cut certain bills down? And Mint Mobile is going to try and help you out with that. Okay. So you can get half off their 3-month unlimited plan. And Kratz, if you do that, can you keep your phone number?
Easy peasy. Never a doubt. Keep it.
Do you still get high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network?
You won't notice a difference. You're not even going to notice a difference. All you're going to notice is the extra cash in your pocket.
Okay, perfect. So ditch the overpriced wireless plan that you're messing with. Check out your bill and just see if things can be done to make it better. Switch to Mint Mobile. New customers can get half off the unlimited plan until February 2nd. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, get the plan shipped to your door for free at mintmobile.com/territory. mintmobile.com/territory. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. We will be right back with Alden Gonzalez, who is plugged into the scene in LA. All right, let's roll up our sleeves. ESPN's Alden Gonzalez joining us right now. Alden, great to have you on. How was the weekend for you with the Roki Sasaki addition to the Dodgers and then the Tanner Scott little bonus on Sunday? Dodger fans are thrilled. The rest of Major League Baseball on social media, not so much, huh?
Well, first off, let's have some pity for me, who never gets any time off because the Dodgers just never stop signing people. Spring training's about to start. I haven't had an off season. They won the World Series, and then they just proceed to sign every single player. It's honestly like I'm almost numb to it. The Tanner Scott news came through over the week, and I'm just like, yeah, they signed another guy because that's just what they do now. It's crazy to think just like how they operated even just 2 years ago, right? This was a team that obviously always has had a lot of resources, and they always got stars, but they were always very sort of, I guess, prudent in the way they would go about things, right? It would drive people in LA crazy sometimes because they just wanted them to sign everybody, and they wouldn't. And Tanner Scott was a perfect example. Like, that's the kind of deal for a back-end reliever in free agency that, like, this front office doesn't really spend money like that on those type of relievers, but they're operating at a different level right now, and it's been ever since they got Shohei Ohtani. They're signing whoever they want, whenever they want. They're paying as much money as they need to, and whether they need to defer some salary or make up for it with a signing bonus, whatever it takes, they just get the guy. And this is back-to-back off seasons now where they get everybody they want. It truly is stunning.
You mentioned it, Alden, and for me, this is the Shohei Ohtani effect. Why? Because of the money they make off Shohei. Now they bring in Roki. Right? So now I'm sure they're going to get even more. They already have Yamamoto and they have Shohei. Now they bring in Roki, who's like the young stud. So there'll just be more money pouring in from the Japanese media and the advertisers and everyone to back them. So this, to me, is the Shohei effect of why you sign a Shohei Ohtani that is not only a baseball star in America, but an international star, mega star away from the field, right? Because, I mean, I've heard numbers from anywhere from 150 to 200 million that they made just off Shohei last year. Well, this is all going back into the team to sign Scott, to sign Blake Snell. I mean, heck, we forgot they signed Blake Snell forever ago, right? Teoscar's back. Now they have Tanner Scott. So this is them reinvesting. Guggenheim has enough money. So now they're like the Cubs. We're just trying to break even. So we'll sign everybody. And I think it's great. If I'm a Dodgers fan, I am like, thank you. Bring it on.
And it's what every team, every fan base would want from their team. Like, and you can't do anything but give them credit. They're taking all that money and they're reinvesting it. And like, the luxury tax threshold used to be something that in some ways they sort of feared. And now it seems as if they could care less about it because, as you said, AJ, I mean, look, they had some very favorable projections for what Shohei Ohtani could mean from them from a business standpoint heading into 2024. It's a large reason why they wanted him. That's no secret. He blew away every single financial projection that they could have ever fathomed. Like, just him going from the Angels to the Dodgers made such a huge difference. Their footprint in Japan is so much bigger than they would have ever imagined. I mean, I'm at Dodger Stadium a lot during the year. Like, every day there are Japanese tour groups that go through that stadium. Just tourism in general to Los Angeles has changed dramatically because of Shohei Ohtani. And now, like, they've gotten to a point where, and I understand frustration from other fan bases, and I even kind of get people wondering, is this fair what they're doing? Because they've almost like monopolized the industry. Like, I remember when Andrew Friedman and that front office group first got there, one thing they talked about a lot was that they wanted to make the Dodgers and LA in general a destination for free agents. And it took some years to get there. But they're at a point now where, I mean, you can't beat the weather throughout the summer, playing in front of packed stadiums, winning every single year. They have more resources than anybody. They have a better track record than anybody of making guys better. So it's like, it's almost as if every free agent is willing to do whatever it takes to be a Dodger right now. And I think the only thing working against them is that they only have a certain amount of roster spots. This is just where they're at right now in their trajectory. Everybody wants to be a Dodger. So, and they're taking full advantage of it because they're willing to spend.
Is that the hoverboard from Back to the Future in the background? Am I seeing that right? Okay. So take us to the future when this $1.375 billion of deferred money starts coming off the books, and these players are 35 years old. The whole team will be 35 at the same time. Do you see the Dodgers not caring about that? And is this really just all funded from what AJ said, the Shohei cash?
Keep in mind that the way, and this is why it can be kind of a boon for teams to defer money. Maybe not as much as people might think, but still it's beneficial. With these deferred payments, and not to get too in the weeds here, but basically you gotta put away that money into an escrow account if you're the Dodgers, right? Like you can't just like put it aside and hope that you could make that payment, because what Major League Baseball wants to guard against is just basically teams not being able to foot the bill when it comes due. So every year they gotta put a certain amount of money aside into an escrow account to fund those deferred payments. Now you put that money in an escrow account, and maybe it's a more conservative account, but it's still going to build interest and you're going to make money off it. And a corporation like Guggenheim can probably invest it in very good ways. So, I mean, they're going to fund it. They're going to have the money for it. And by that point, like they hope to have multiple championships and to have, made this the greatest era in Dodgers history and their footprint. And there's already a bunch of kids in Japan, wearing Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and soon Roki Sasaki jerseys, who are going to want to be Dodgers one day. And like, for as big as their brand was in Japan in the mid 1990s, it's exponentially bigger now. So, I mean, it's almost a moot point. I mean, I hate to minimize it, but they're going to be able to fund that money. And I think the key for them, and this is a very real thing, and Andrew talks about it still, they got to maintain a good minor league system, right? Like the reason why franchises hit a wall eventually is because their roster ages out. They got a lot of money tied to aging players. And obviously that is a risk that the Dodgers are taking on now. The type of risk that they weren't willing to take on before because they were afraid of something like this happening. That definitely is a threat now. It is more important for them than ever to develop their own talent and to do well in trades when they get prospects back in return, because that pipeline needs to keep coming through. For as much money as the Dodgers might have, and they have as much as anybody, they need to still be able to develop homegrown talent. And once that, if that stagnates, then they're going to be in trouble. But they've proven that they can do it.
Basically, Tom Selleck in Mr. Baseball is the one that gets all this credit. Back in the day, the movie, Tom Selleck wore his Dodgers hat, so that's where it ended up coming from. But is this, you mentioned Roki. Is Roki, like we heard reports now that Major League Baseball has already done their own investigation and everything is on the up and up. Is that the last we've heard that this Roki signing, nothing nefarious was going on, nothing ahead of time was going on with the Dodgers?
I don't know that it's the last that we'll hear. I could tell you, I heard months ago that Major League Baseball looked into it because they heard from a lot of other front office executives and other people throughout the game wondering if there was something nefarious here going on, if there was a handshake deal between Roki and the Dodgers. And leading up to his signing and after his signing, I heard from a lot of evaluators who wondered if this entire process was a farce. And look, Joe Wolf, his agent, will tell you that this was a legitimate process, that Roki had a really tough decision, and that, he wanted to...
Alden, what's he supposed to say? What's he supposed to say? He's not going to be like,
of course,
hey, yeah, man, we totally had this done months ago. Of course he's going to come out and say it was a fair process. To me, this seems like, everyone was called this months ago that he was going there.
Yes.
So there had to be, they'll never prove it.
And here's the thing, and that's the key. And that's what I was getting at. And that's what I was getting at, because I've heard from a lot of people who question that, and I've been hearing it for months, and a lot of people have been talking about it. But at the end of the day, like, let's say there was a handshake deal here, right? Like, if you're Major League Baseball, how are you proving that, right? Even the people who wonder if there was something nefarious happening, they don't have any proof, right? It's just a lot of smoke. So I don't know what the solution is there, is my point.
Yeah, Alden, I'll add to this, because I actually don't think there was a pre-cut deal. It's not like he was a free agent. Every team was going to give him maximum international bonus money. There was just a predetermined decision. He's a Dodger fan. He's friends with Ohtani and Yamamoto. I'm sure they've had conversations in the past, which, as far as I know, is legal. So there was nothing actually illegal as part of the process. He just already had it in his head where he wanted to go for a long time now. I think the part that's pissing people off is why they went through this whole process. I'm trying to think about why he would do it. And the only thing I could come up with, Alden, is yes, for optics, but also for an information suck. He gets to sit with all these teams that tell him what they think he should do and wine and dine him. And it's his only opportunity to do that right now. So many people would probably take that on, even if it was BS.
Yeah, I agree. And look, I wrote over the weekend about, the homework assignment that Roki had for teams was he wanted them to tell him why his fastball velocity dropped last year and what their plans were to make sure that that never happened again. And I did hear from some teams that they wondered, and this is just their speculation, if exactly what you said, Scott, if that was just sort of gathering intel from teams because he already knew where he was going and he could get all this intel from teams and he could apply it to himself and he could share it with the Dodgers. And again, that is all speculation, but there are a lot of people who wonder about that as well. There's no doubt about it.
All right, I have a couple questions for you. The first two are really quick answers. One, will he throw the javelin with Yamamoto?
I don't think that is part of his training. I think that's very specific to Yamamoto.
Okay, perfect. And then second of all, the Dodgers, I don't know who the Dodgers had at their meeting, but I'm assuming Shohei was there, Yamamoto was there, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Will Smith. We know Glasnow wasn't there, maybe Blake Snell. I don't know. And then you look at the Blue Jays, and this is not a knock on Bo Bichette and Chad Green. I think Varsho was the third player there. But where was Vladdy? Right? Like, where was Vladdy? Like, if I go into a meeting and I have Shohei, Yamamoto, Freddie, Mookie, Will Smith, whoever else, Blake Snell, and then I go to the Blue Jays, and no, again, this is a knock on those guys, but I'm kind of starstruck. How do you say no to that? I don't know. Maybe I'm way off.
And AJ, on the Blue Jays side, it's kind of telling, right? And maybe why they keep finishing second or third place in free agents. The Vladimir Guerrero Jr. situation, the uncertainty there, the fact that he could be a free agent in a year and they don't have an extension with him, that hangs over everything the Blue Jays do. That's very telling.
True. Okay, so then here's my next thing. I'm happy this happened. You know why? I'm happy they're signing everybody. Because who's going to be the team that's going to step up? Is it going to be the Phillies? Now, let's not forget, the Padres had them last year. The Padres had Game 4 at home, bullpen day for the Dodgers, and they didn't score a run for 2 games. Who's going to be the team that says, we're not afraid of the big, bad Dodgers, and we're going to go out and beat them in a playoff series? That's what other teams, now listen, fan bases are fan bases, but if I was a player and I was in that division, if I'm the Diamondbacks, I'm like, let's go shock the world and prove that with Corbin Burns and Zach Gallen and our team that we assembled, we can go out there and kick their ass. Like, that's what I would be if I was a player. It's great that all these guys are getting their money. But let's go out and be the team that shocks the world.
And AJ, it's why I love what the Diamondbacks have done. To go out and get Corbin Burns, to do what they did last offseason to try to fortify that team in a small market. I mean, look, baseball, you guys know this very well. Like baseball, more so than any other sport. You can sign every guy you want. And it's come October, it's not going to matter. I mean, look at the Yankees in the 2000s when they signed everybody. And almost every year they would come up short. I think this is fun to have this in sports, to have the one team that everybody outside of that market hates and is jealous of and can't stand and wants to beat so badly. And that's the Dodgers right now. And that makes it a fun dynamic. I mean, look, the Dodgers team that won the World Series last year, I think going in was one of the worst Dodger teams I had seen coming into the playoffs, especially because of how bad their rotation outlook seemed. And they won it all. That was not the year for them to win it all. So nothing is guaranteed. That the National League West is as good as any division. I thought the Padres were a much better team than them in October. That's not the case now. They got a lot of work to do. But, I mean, it's up for grabs. It really is. I mean, anything could happen once the baseball season starts.
All right, this is what I say the Dodgers also do. They sign Pete Alonso, they can platoon him with Freddie Freeman, and they sign Alex Bregman, they can platoon him with Max Muncy. And then that way, I mean, then they're set at every position. I think we lost Alden. Did he freeze?
He didn't like that last line.
Oh, he didn't like that. But I'm thinking the Dodgers do that.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Oh, is he back? Alden, are you back?
I think he's back.
He was back for a second. But I had something I wanted to show him and asked him about a free agent that the Dodgers haven't signed. But now we're not going to get the opportunity to see it because he had to hang up on us.
No.
The Dodgers signed Alonso. Oh, there he is. Alden, you back? Can you hear us?
We're all freezing.
All right, whatever.
All right. Well, anyway, so
There
my
goes your
son.
joke.
Well, no. So anyway, we can show the picture. My son was at the UFC in LA this week, and he ran into a guy you guys might recognize. I don't know if you guys, the little guy on the right side. You know who that is?
Kiki, do you love me?
Kiki.
That's right.
Where's he gonna go? I mean, he
maybe
is.
the
Look at his
Dodgers.
jacket, LA, the whole deal. Where's Kike gonna go? How's he not
Did they
back?
ask
Oklahoma?
I don't think my son asked him. I mean,
No.
that's not really a question for him to ask him. But where's
Where
he gonna
will
go?
Kike go? I mean, he can fit with any team. He plays a bunch of positions. He's a spark plug. He knows his role. He's good.
Boston.
But we're gonna try Boston again.
Yeah, right. Oh man.
He fits LA. Like, it was just so LA, right? It was like so LA with him.
Yes.
They'll give him a big
all right,
league
let's-
deal to go to AAA and just wait for the playoffs and hit bangers.
He's Robert Ory. Let's finish with this, just because we lost Alden for the last question. Are you guys excited for a super team, a super villain?
I told you I was,
Mm-hmm.
because I want to know who the team's going to be that's going to figure out a way to beat them. Because when a team
yeah.
does beat them, it's like the Yankees back in the day, right?
Uh-huh.
When the Yankees finally, the Diamondbacks beat them in 2001, it was like the world rejoiced. The Yankees didn't win.
Marlins beat him in 97 too. They won in 96, right?
That was
Marlins?
2003. Marlins beat them.
And 97,
97,
they beat the
Indians.
Cleveland. Right. Okay. 2003. So anyway, are the Dodgers going to win 3 championships in a row right now?
I would say no. It's so
No,
hard.
I don't.
I mean,
think
no one
so.
complains about the Chiefs winning every year. The Astros went to how many ALCSs in a row before this year,
A lot.
right? The Chiefs are in the AFC Championship game every year. No one's
everything
complaining.
is unfair unless everything is exactly the same, which is called communism. So here's Mike Petriello. The Chiefs are going to the AFC Championship game for the 7th year in a row. Something must be done about super teams. The NFL is dying and losing fans. I really got into it on Twitter yesterday. I spent some time. Kratz was looking at what I was doing. There was a good comment from Eric on Twitter who said to me and to other haters, NFL is king because Americans love football, not because of parity. Baseball has more parity than any other American sport. NFL actually has the least amount of parity, evidenced by the Chiefs making a 7th consecutive conference championship. And he's spot on, because I'm more of a casual fan, and I'm sick of watching the Chiefs. But the Chiefs are what? On their way to potentially winning? Is this
3 in a row?
This would be 3 in a row? Okay. We're far from that. We haven't had back-to-back champs in a quarter century.
And there were a lot of people rooting for the Bills this weekend. I'm just saying. A lot of people.
You would think the Dodgers just won 10 titles in a row, Kratz. And then I just wanted to throw a name out there that many people forgot about, but the name's Frank McCourt, who also spent money, and the Dodgers were a joke before this ownership group.
Yeah, and they've built this. They didn't just buy it in the last few years. They've built what this is. And I'm sorry, AJ, you're going to get eviscerated on Twitter for saying you feel like this is good for baseball, but people just don't get it. I spent the last weekend getting eviscerated. But before the Chiefs were winning all these, who was winning before that? Tom Brady and the Patriots. Like, that is what baseball doesn't have that. Baseball is not that way. Even with this team, Scotty gave me even money for the field or the Dodgers. I'm taking the field. I'm taking the field every day, every year for the rest of my life. There's no way.
Same.
Baseball just doesn't allow teams to just dominate year in and year out. The Dodgers are going to be good. Nobody's denying that. They're not just making the World Series trophy out to them right now.
That's right. In other leagues, like NBA, when they do have super teams, I will take that one team over the field, but not in this situation. We've seen that for a good chunk of the last, 20 years. All right, let's take a quickie break. We'll swing back, and there were a lot of other signings. AJ Minter to the Mets, Jose LeClerc to the ATHs, and more.
What's your story? What's the story that you would tell your grandkids, at your deathbed when they say, tell us your best Bob Uecker story?
Erik, there's too many, as you know. I mean, there's this one. Do you have this T-shirt?
I still have it. I was going to wear Yep.
It's Uecker in a Speedo, which is great. He says it's from my swimsuit issue, Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated embedded a reporter with the Brewers in the mid 2000s. They were kind of coming on as a franchise, and they thought, oh, this will be great, and gave Sports Illustrated great access. They had this like horrendous road trip, included a stop in Miami. I think they went like 0-7 on this trip. It was just a total nightmare, except for a uke and a Speedo. There's a photo in this piece in Sports Illustrated, and it's J.J. Hardy and Corey Hart playing ping pong with uke leaning up against this wall. And it becomes this legendary thing. And then in 2018, when Brewers legend Erik Kratz was with the club, if I have my years right, they did a trip where they all dressed up like you from the Tonight Show with the patchwork sport coats. And Craig Counsell and a lot of the other guys had the T-shirt on underneath. He was able to laugh at himself all the time. And that was on the air. Everyone's seen the clips. He made a career out of talking about his own playing career as a 200 hitter. But that was off the field too. Like or off the air. I mean, he would laugh about himself and have a good time no matter who you were. He always treated you as an equal and had a good time. So, that whole stands out to me. And I'm so happy that Dan Larea, their traveling secretary, threw me one of these T-shirts so I could wear it today as we're remembering Uke. The other one, I'll just say, like, the photo over my shoulder that's signed, I walked in the booth one day years ago just to ask his partner at the time, I think was Jim Powell, who then was in Atlanta. And I had some question about a scoring decision or whatever. And I walk in between innings, and Uke has this stack of these 8x10s, and he's signing them. And he turns around and he says, "Hey, Adam, you want one?" And I was like, "Yeah, Uke, I'd love one, but I got to say, I left my 8x10s at home, so I won't be able to return the favor." And like, he laughed. And I was, 20 something years old. And to make Bob Uecker laugh, I grew up listening to this guy in the suburbs here in Milwaukee. And it was like the greatest moment of my life. So that stands out to me too. There's a million more. And as Erik knows, and you can't tell most of them.
Their signings. Since we were last on a show, the New York Mets pick up A.J. Minter.
The Mets are having a nice offseason, but it's getting overshadowed by what the Dodgers are doing.
Of course. The Yankees had a pretty nice offseason.
Yankees have had a nice one. The A's have had a really good offseason.
You know who had a decent offseason? The Angels. That just was a while ago.
I forgot they even made moves.
They made plenty of moves. Jorge Soler,
no, I know.
You say Kikuchi, etc. But
I know, but you look at the A's, what they've done.
Yeah, with LeClerc. Well, we'll get to him. Let's do Minter
the
first.
Mets with Manaea, bringing back Manaea.
Yep.
Soto.
Yep.
Minter's a great piece for the back end. They needed that lefty guy that can come in and get lefties and righties out.
Are you worried about his health? He had August season-ending hip surgery, and Mark Bowman and some of the writers out there in Atlanta were surprised he got this much money coming off an injury like that. I'm like, don't they check the medicals. They feel comfortable if they're going to sign a guy like this, or as comfortable as you can be, Kratz, with an arm.
I mean, as comfortable as you can be, but to me, he was setting himself, before that injury, he was setting himself up for a big payday. So I would actually go against that and say he should have been, had he not gotten hurt, he should have been more of like a three-year deal. Pitched half a season, now he's fresh. I love that. For the Mets, they just keep making moves that are, obviously minus the Soto thing, keep making moves that look really great on paper. Nothing like super big splashy, but good on paper. Not too long for Minter. I think he's going to give him a really good opportunity to come back. And I mean, you get a guy to lead up to Diaz, it's huge.
Yeah, he's either really, really good and then he opts out because he does have an opt-out after year one, or it's a little rougher go on his first season back from the big surgery, and then they get him for one more season.
I feel like he'll be fine.
I feel like he'll be fine as well. I trust their signing process. We're not going to get any kind of medical report. We never get that. So we can only comment on what we know. But he had a 2.5-ish ERA this past season. There were a few peripherals. The velocity was down. I think he had a career worst home run rate and K rate, but he had a bad hip and he still had a 2.5 ERA. in his 34 and
Plus, he's in the division, so that hurts the Braves too.
Right. Did
I read, by the way, I thought it was Mark Bowman, the one that tweeted the Braves. Someone thought the Braves were going to get Tanner Scott, not this.
They wanted him, but they're not going to match the money.
They need a bullpen. They need a bullpen piece too, I think.
Most teams do.
So this is a loss for the Braves and a gain in their division.
Yeah, there's other names.
Plus, if you're in that division, you need lefties. Because you go to Philly, you got Schwarber, Harper, that whole crew, and then you go to Atlanta and you got Olsen and the group of lefties for the Braves. So I mean, I love this signing for the Mets.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point. All right, next up, Jose LeClerc to the A's, 1 year, $10 million.
Dude, how does Mike Gallego do Twitter and coach third for the A's?
That's Martin with the report. But Jose LeClerc was a big part of the Texas Rangers World Series championship team a couple years ago.
That's a team I want to talk about. Like, the A's have done great things. Listen, I know we've talked about how they've had to spend money, but I like the signings they've made. But let's talk about the Rangers. And we're going to get to Evan Grant. And my number one question for Evan Grant when he comes on is this. Who the hell is pitching in the bullpen for the Rangers?
Well, they did pick up a ton of different pieces. It's just different.
It's not.
Different names.
Yes.
Yeah, they're losing their top three.
Yes.
Yeah, Yates, Robertson, and LeClerc. Yeah. So do you think
they'll get Spores back, right? He's back because he was hurt a lot last year.
Right. Do you think the A's have a chance for a wild card as they keep piling up?
I do. I think they need one more bat. To me, they need one more bat. I don't know where that bat is going to be, but I think they need one more bat.
Okay. There's a ton of bats available. They can do the whole Pirates game where they wait until like February 5th, and then you try and get a couple guys on a discount.
But I like their rotation with what they brought in. I love obviously the Rooker signing, but I think their offense, their bullpen was solid for them last year, especially with Mason Miller. But I think they need one more bat somewhere. I just don't know where he will play.
I think it comes from the young guys. Look what the guys on the Guardians did this year that had, their second year, their second full season in the big leagues, even some of them their third full season. To me, Langoliers is going to hit better than what he did last year. It was a lot of all or nothing. To me, I think Zach Galloff can have a great year. I think there's guys that are going to step up from within because of how young they are, and now they're getting their big league feet under them. And I think Law Dog, Lawrence Butler, what he did, I think his last 200 at-bats, if he can duplicate that, you're talking about an all-star outfielder with speed. Like, to me, I think he is underrated in the sense that he's not talked about enough what his potential could be this year.
Yeah, I'm good with their bullpen. Starting pitching is going to be a little weak on the back end, but you've got Severino, Springs, and Sears as your top three. I know, but
those two are pretty good.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gets a little tough for me. And then line up real quick. You got Butler, Rooker, Bleday, Langoliers, Soderstrom, Geloff, Seth Brown, Gio Urshela, Jacob Wilson.
They need another bat.
They do need another bat. Yes. Jacob Wilson's going to play though. Like that's
I understand that, but what I'm saying is
he's going to play.
They need another guy that is a power guy.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
You know who would be great there?
Pete Alonso.
Profar to take over Jacob Wilson's spot. Nothing that's wrong with him. He's a contact
Jacob Wilson,
guy.
They have a shortstop though. I mean, you're putting Profar in the outfield, so
Profar's
he can be in that mix. Yeah. Jacob Wilson's going to play
in the lineup, like that type of lineup construction.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, like Seth Brown, obviously, coming off a rough year, more of a platoon guy. Mm-hmm. And better to have on your bench than getting everyday PT. All right, let's swing back with Mark Feinsand joining us, who broke the Tanner Scott news and also is helping us break some news about a show we're doing on Saturday. All right, we're back. So I'll just keep reading through some things that I learned on Twitter this weekend, which usually is not a good way to start a conversation. But Anthony Rodriguez asked this question. I promised Anthony I would ask it to you guys. He said, do you feel like players going to the Dodgers now are taking the easy way out, trying to get a ring? That's been a thing in the NBA for years, where sometimes a player will be criticized for going to a particular team. I think Durant received a lot of crap, quote crap, back when he went to the Warriors.
I disagree. I disagree because you're not guaranteed to win it like they were kind of in the NBA when they do this. But also, like I said, they're getting fair market value. They're not taking less to go there, most of these guys. Now, maybe Teoscar took a few $1 million less, but he wanted to be there, right?
Yeah.
Tanner Scott got an unbelievable deal.
$72 million.
I mean, Roki Sasaki got everything he could. Blake Snell got a great deal. Freddie Freeman got a great deal. Mookie Betts was traded there. Shohei obviously got an unbelievable deal to go there. So I don't know why people want to say, like, they're doing this. No, like, they're doing what's best for them. And when you can go to a place that Alden talked about and we talked about, weather, winning, money, they all work, plus resources, it's an easy decision. If they want you and you fit.
No, there's not an easy way out. You want to go where you want to win, where you can win, but you also want to go where they make you the best player. And they've proven that they help you become your best. If I was a guy that signed with the Dodgers, that's an easy way of going for a ring. You're a 35-year-old AAA veteran who signed somewhere. You're going to sign with Colorado to go AAA, or you're going to sign with LA to go AAA. That's an easy. Those are the people that are riding the coattails of the Dodgers, not Teoscar, not Tanner Scott, because they're not taking team-friendly deals either.
That's right. I mean, there were some reports that the Cubs offered, I think it was 4 years, 66. I'm like, that's nice. That's not 72. So good try.
Great.
Thanks for trying.
I mean, he got 4 years at 18 a pop.
Yeah.
That's huge money for a reliever.
It is. But also there are others who have been paid like that. Josh Hader was paid more than that.
No, but that's fair market value. Exactly. He got fair market value to go to a team where he's got a great opportunity to win.
Yep.
In those 4 years, they have a great opportunity to win at least one ring, if not more, with the team they have assembled. Duh.
Yeah, it's not that complicated. Yeah, as I said this weekend on Twitter, it's not that complicated. All right, Mark Feinsand coming up. All right, here we go. MLB.com senior insider Mark Feinsand.
First of all, the hat's fine, Mark, but that shirt is god-awful. God-awful.
Well, my son's a sophomore at the U, so once you start paying tuition, you become an automatic fan. That's just sort of how it goes.
You missed. All right, let's get to first important business. Mark will be with us this Saturday. We're excited to announce to the FT fam, which we did already on social media this morning, that the 2024 winners of those Writers Awards that we all talk about, the premier awards in our sport, will be handed out on Saturday, and the show will be live for the first time ever, and FT will be running it on our YouTube channel. Mark, we're really excited to work with the BBWAA chapter in New York. Can you tell us more about what to expect? Because fans have never witnessed this live. We're going to blast it out to the world.
Yeah, this is a really cool event. It's one of my favorite nights of the year. I've been the chairman of New York a couple times before, a couple years, and emceed the event. Those might not have been my favorites because that's really stressful, getting up and speaking in front of 1,000 people. But if you're watching it and you're not the one who has to make any presentations, it's a lot of fun. This is our 100th dinner. Like you said, award winners are going to be there. We always get some cool presenters, have a few surprises up our sleeve every year. And it's just a chance. It really, you're talking like 2 weeks before spring training starts. So it's sort of like the official goodbye to the 2024 season, and we kick off spring training a couple weeks later. So, it should be a really fun event, and we're really excited to have you guys on board with us.
Now, Mark, so it's managers of the year, rookies of the year, Cy Youngs, MVPs. Am I missing any other award winners that will be there? So we're going to get Shohei, we're going to get Judge, we're going to get Skeens, Luis Heel, both managers of the year.
Maybe Libby Dunn?
Sale,
who's
and
a friend of the
Skubal.
show. Tarek, who was a friend of the show.
Wait,
is there any other?
There's a big name that you'll be excited because it's one of your favorite players of all time who's going to be there.
Lamar.
You don't see often at events.
Lamar.
So in addition to the national awards, this is the New York chapter baseball writers dinner. So we also have some local awards that we hand out to various players, not only from New York teams, but all around. So among the other people being honored, Oswaldo Cabrera from the Yankees is getting our Community Service Award. We're presenting an award to Don Mattingly and Dave Winfield for the 30th anniversary of their 40th anniversary of their big batting race and just sort of representing what they meant to the Yankees throughout the 80s. Susan Waldman and John Sterling will be honored for their 20-plus year run as a booth together now that John is retired. The Mets are going to be honored for just sort of everything they did in New York last year. We're actually honoring the OMG Mets. So I'm sure there will be a lot of fun going on there with that crew. So yeah, it's not just the national award winners, but obviously, those big boys are the centerpiece of the show.
Wait, is Iglesias going to sing live? Because I'll totally get into it. Scott will have his, you get the flick going, he'll have his glow sticks, some orange and blue. Yeah,
wait, but you got to tell everyone who's coming. I think we can say it.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah,
I just found out.
I think it was put out. I mean, one of the legends that's going to be there. Mark, we can say it, right?
I'm not sure which one you're talking about, and I don't want to speak out of school, so feel free to say what you want to say, and I'll confirm whatever you say.
Barry Bonds is coming. I think we put it in the press release. Yeah. Barry Bonds is supposed to be
Barry
there
Bonds is supposed to be there, which is very exciting. I mean, it's obviously, seven-time MVP, and with our 100th dinner, we always like having, as many big names as possible. We're obviously, with Willie Mays passing this year, we're going to do a tribute to Willie, and who better to talk about Willie than his godson? So Barry's supposed to be there, and but when we have big names like that, it's one of those things where, having been involved in the planning of this dinner as long as I have, until I see the person walk through the door, there's always that part of me that's like, something's going to happen with their flight, or, there's going to be a snowstorm. We had one year, I'm trying to remember, it was the year Dallas Keuchel won the Cy Young Award. So that would have been 15 or 16. And we had everybody at the Hilton for the dinner, and usually everybody gets in on Friday, and the dinner is Saturday night. Well, overnight Friday, there were 30 inches of snow in New York. And it absolutely wreaked havoc on the entire event. We had to cancel it because the city was on shutdown. We ended up putting on sort of a smaller private event that, fortunately, some TV cameras were able to capture. And it was basically just the award winners and their parties only. It was like 125 people in the room instead of 1,000. So snow is our worst nightmare. And we'll be doing the anti-snow dances here for the next 5 or 6 days in New York.
As a rookie going to this, what do I need to make sure I don't miss? Because I'm kind of starstruck, all the names that are out there. Like it's exciting for me, but what do I got to make sure I don't miss?
Well, I think, you're going to have a different rookie experience than most, because a lot of these guys are going to come over to your set and talk to you. I think it's just, honestly, the sight of the dais of all of these award winners and all of these huge names in the game being up there together in sort of a social setting. It's not a press conference. It's not a game. It's not any sort of formal thing. It's really a social event. And just being able to see them all together, usually you get one or two really good speeches. I know personally, I'm super excited for Pat Murphy's speech, because that guy just is nonstop entertainment. And I would imagine that he will come up with something quite amusing or entertaining and at least thought-provoking in whatever he says. So I think it's just seeing all these guys together is really cool, and it's a rare opportunity to see all of these stars of the game, not at an all-star game or something like that, but just together. They're all tuxedoed up and looking sharp, and it's always interesting to see what certain guys come out with certain flair in terms of their tuxedo a little more than others. So I'm looking forward to some of that too.
Mark, I just looked at the weather for next week. I appreciate you guys having a heat wave for me, 38. I mean,
that is hot.
I know. I just left Chicago. It was negative 40 when I left. It was ridiculous. So thank you. No snow in the forecast.
Keep the snow away.
No snow in the forecast at all. Okay, so you're good with the no snow. Now, what's the dress code for this event for me? Because I have a Pat Murphy T-shirt that he signed for me that has his picture on it. Can I wear that? And it also is an added bonus that says Kratz sucks. So I figured that would be appropriate. Is that inappropriate?
You're free to wear that. You won't be allowed in the VIP cocktail reception, but you'll be able to get to your set at least. So
okay.
Yeah, no.
Is it black tie? Wait, do I need a tuxedo?
It's black tie for the award winners and the presenters and anybody who's sitting up on the dais. Former chairman as myself who go into the pre-cocktail reception. We all get tuxedoed up as well, just because at this point it's pretty much the only time I wear a tuxedo is this dinner every year until my kids start getting married, and hopefully that's a long time away. So Yeah, no, but if you're just in the general audience at the Hilton, certainly it's not casual, but you don't need to be in black tie. A suit or a sport coat or something like that is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and I'm excited for our audience. Obviously, I mean, you don't have to pay to watch it. You can watch it live. It's going to be on YouTube. It's even actually going to be shown in Japan on Fuji TV. If you're watching our show right now and you're looking for it, it'll be on out there. But Mark, we'll get to talk to you more on Saturday. Let me ask you a couple relevant topics right now. So you broke the news this weekend about Tanner Scott. What do you think about the Dodgers heading into 2025? They have a pretty good chance at competing, right?
It's finally nice to see them catch a break and get somebody to go to LA. And I think they could be okay. I mean, they're probably favored by 12, 14 games to win the division. Look, obviously their roster is incredibly impressive and there's a ton of talent and they just keep getting better and more people, joining them. We still have to do it on the field. Still stay healthy. I mean, as good as their rotation is, who's the workhorse in that rotation, right? You've got a lot of guys who throw 120, 130 innings a year. So will they stay healthy all year? Will they, will Sasaki have no problem making the adjustment? Will Snell stay healthy? Will Glasnow stay healthy? What will Ohtani look like when he comes back and pitches? So, yeah, I mean, on paper, the Dodgers should wipe everybody up. I mean, their roster is incredible. But we've seen a lot of teams on paper that looked unbeatable. And even if they look unbeatable over 162, best of 5 series have a way of making funny things happen. I mean, I covered the Yankees for a long time, and I watched teams that won 103, 104 games go out and lose in the first round. So I don't think you can just automatically hand them the trophy. Now, are they going to be the favorites going into the year? Darn right they are. But again, let's see what they look like come September, October. What does the health look like? And everything else, because we've just seen too many times where it's not always the most talented roster that wins the World Series. So I don't think you can just pencil them in as the champions just yet.
What do you think their number one strength is? If you put like different categories, money, player development, the big league team, what is the Dodgers' number one strength? Because right now everybody sees, they just have way more money. No, they're just spending more of their money. They may have some more, but they don't have this much more. Other teams just aren't spending it. But what do you think is their biggest strength to be able to build this team?
I'm gonna sort of boil it all down into one thing, and that's Andrew Friedman in the front office. Because Andrew, since he's gone to LA, has tried to operate the Dodgers with the same sort of sensibility and approach in his evaluation, talent evaluation, everything else, and farm system and everything else as he had in Tampa, where he was very successful. But now he's taking that Tampa approach with a $375 million payroll. Those two things married together are really lethal. And I think the fact that he's been able to continue to churn out talent through his organization, and you're not only relying on free agents, but when there's a free agent you want, you can go get him. And so I think that all certainly, helps them be where they are right now. And of course, just, it's a historic team, plays in a beautiful ballpark and beautiful weather. And why wouldn't you want to go there, especially when they're putting together a super team the way they have? So it's a very appealing destination for potential free agents. And, I just think the way that their organization has been run top to bottom, it's not just writing big checks. They've also brought up guys through the system who have gone on to become integral parts of that team. And when I think back, once again, I always bring things back to New York because that's sort of where I started. If you look at those Tory dynasty teams, yeah, they had a financial edge over a lot of teams, but their biggest edge was being able to bring up guys like Jeter and Posada and Rivera and Pettit and then keep them. And so the Dodgers, when they do bring up young homegrown guys, they have the money to keep them. And to me, that's a bigger advantage than anything else.
All right, let's go to your Hall of Fame ballot. Give me one that was the toughest for you that you checked yes, and one that was the toughest for you that you left off the ballot, which is coming up here. We're getting all our tallies coming up here.
Let's see. The toughest yes. I hadn't voted for Rollins over the past few years, not because I didn't want to, but mostly because I didn't have room on my ballot. He was like number 11 on my ballot the last couple of years. So I think getting him on there, I finally felt happy that I had the opportunity to give him a vote, because I sort of feel like if you're voting for Utley, you kind of have to vote for Rollins also. I have Utley a little higher than Rollins, but I really appreciated watching Rollins play the game and what he brought to the Phillies throughout his career. In terms of the no's, look, I took A-Rod and Manny off of my ballot last year after voting for them for multiple years. It wasn't that I deemed them any less worthy than I had before. It wasn't that I was all of a sudden taking some sort of a stance against PEDs. Again, it was more of a numbers game. We are limited to 10 spots on our ballot. Last year, there were, I think, 3 or 4 new first balloters that I wanted to get on there, and I just didn't have room because there hadn't been a bunch of guys put on the ballot or taken into the hall the year before that cleared off space on my ballot. So, if I had an unlimited ballot, I would still be a voter for A-Rod and Manny. But as long as it is the way it is, and as long as the rest of the ballot looks the way it is, I'm just going to have to keep leaving them off. If I see them make some real moves, make some real traction towards, let's even say 50%, forget 75, then I would certainly think about putting them back on. But right now, with them sort of lingering in that 20, 25% mode, and they haven't really had any movement, it just feels like a wasted vote at this point. And, if I have other people who I feel I want to give my votes to, then I'm going to do that instead of voting for guys who I think have no shot.
Okay, makes sense. You know what? That might be the best explanation I've ever heard of anyone why they take people off or why they vote for guys. So, Mark, thank you for that. But I know you were a part of the Tulane thing last week, the arbitration hearings. We had the guys on last year, remember, from Texas, and I actually had a friend of mine's daughter compete in it this year. She had Jaron Duran's case.
You got to explain it for the crowd.
So there's an arbitration. I was going to have Mark explain what they do, and I was going to have Mark explain his role. So they have an arbitration practice competition, right, where schools get certain players and they have to make arguments on both sides, and they don't know what they're getting until I think they get there, right? Am I right with this?
Yeah, so it's the Tulane International Baseball Arbitration Competition run by the sports law program at Tulane Law School. And they bring in this year, I think it was 42 teams from different law schools. And they basically come in and put on mock arbitration hearings. They're simmered down as opposed to like a regular hearing is an hour for the case in chief and 30 minutes for the rebuttal. In this competition, it's 15 minutes for the case in chief and 7.5 minutes for the rebuttal. They're given the players maybe like a month or a few weeks in advance. This year it was Jaron Duran, Cal Raleigh, and Alexis Diaz were the 3 players who were used as the arbitration cases. And basically each team is given, told to prepare like both sides of one player, the team side and the club side and the player side, and then one side on each of the others, and they're told what to do. But they don't know which ones they're putting on until they actually basically get to Tulane like the day before. And it's really interesting. There have been people, so I'm a judge. I'm not a competitor in this because I'm neither a student nor in law school. But the judges for the event are mostly club employees, people from the union, agents, a lot of industry types. I'm the only media member who's there as a judge. I've been going for 7 years, and it's really a great event, great chance to network with some people, and really a great chance to see some of the youth of our sport that wants to get into our sport. And there have been many people, I've seen a number of people who I've seen as competitors there who 2-3 years later, all of a sudden I run into them at spring training or at a ballpark, and they're like, "Hey, do you remember me from Tulane? I was a competitor in 2022." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great." Now they're working in like a front office for a team. So it's really neat to see these kids get into the arbitration process the way they do. And the agents and club people that I've spoken to said that some of these presentations, some of the slides these kids use, they're just as good as the ones that get used in real arb hearings. So it's pretty neat. As somebody who really didn't know a whole lot about the arbitration process and has never been in an actual hearing before, it was fascinating the first time I got to go there and do it. And it's one of my favorite events of the year on my calendar for sure.
My friend said she'll never do it again. That's all she said. She said there's too many. She said there was too many numbers. She said it with too many numbers.
Well, what's interesting is there
she's going to graduate law school, but she said, no way. She's like, I'm done. Too many numbers. I can't do this.
What's interesting is there are times where somebody will go up there and they'll present the case for the player or the team, whichever side they have, and they're amazing. Their oration is just great. Their oral advocacy for their client is wonderful, and they're making these great points, and they're effective speakers, and you can picture them like as a trial lawyer. And then you talk to them afterwards, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't know anything about baseball. I basically was told what all these numbers were, and we just practiced it a lot, and I have no interest in going into baseball. I just thought this would kind of be cool to do." Then I'm like, "Oh, so what are you going to do after school?" I'm like, "Oh, I have a job with the prosecutor's office in whatever city." Or there was one girl I met this weekend, and I said, "Are you looking to get into sports afterwards?" She said, "No, I have a job with the Department of Defense all lined up for when I graduate." I was like, "Oh, so you're going to be like a real lawyer? Okay, cool."
Well, that's like the arbitration panel, because a lot of them don't know much about baseball, and that's part of the game here. They're like, we're just going to present the case. I mean, we can get into that all day, and we have in the past. But you got last licks here, Kratz.
Go Birds.
Oh, thanks, Kratz.
All right, good seeing you guys.
All right.
But wait, which one's worse, the U or the Commanders, Kratz? I mean, which one? For me, it's the U. I mean, I'm rooting for the Commanders.
Commanders.
I like Jaden Daniels.
The Commanders are actually good, though.
How could you not like Jaden Daniels?
I mean, he seems like
I like
awesome
Jaden
kid.
Daniels.
I mean,
it doesn't mean he's going to win. He's not going to win. I like Jaden Daniels. The dude's got a lot of energy, but I mean, the Commanders barely know their own. I mean, come on, beat it. See ya.
Did you think they had a puncher's chance against Detroit? Because most people didn't.
I did. I won a nice little appreciation there because you watch the team. They're in the division. Those guys, they can play, man. Like, you can't stop that offense.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Look, at this point, as a Commanders / Washington football team / Washington Redskins fan for the last 40 plus years, I'm very much looking forward to having a relevant game in championship weekend that I can get pumped up about. I keep saying it's house money, but no, I want them to win. I'm not going to be happy if they don't win, but great season either way.
Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Oh,
both of them are Sunday.
They're both Sunday.
Good.
By the way,
we're busy.
I love Dan
Saturday.
Quinn. I love Dan Quinn. I don't know if you know this, but Dan Quinn.
I did not know that.
Awesome fella.
We're excited that you're able to do your thing on Saturday for the big event, and then you can also check out the game.
Would he be if the game was on Saturday? Would Mark be on stage with his speech in one hand and his phone up there watching the game if it was going on at the same time? That's what I want to know.
No, he's dedicated to this craft.
I don't know, Scott. I think I might have the game on my phone.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Thank you.
I've been
game on and
since 2007, and I've been a Washington fan since like 1982. So, the Washington team gets 25 more years of my affection, and it's been a long time since we've had anything like this, and my text chains of my Washington friends are going crazy, and everybody's just like, this morning I had like 3 people text me, "Is it Sunday yet?" Because I'm not going to make it through this week.
Well, good for you. You'll at least be very preoccupied on Saturday. So Sunday will come up very quickly. All right. We're excited for it. Mark, thanks for joining us here, making your FT debut. We'll see you on Saturday for the big awards event.
You got it, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Appreciate you. Mark Feinsand, MLB.com. Big show Saturday night. Watch it here on YouTube. All right. I just kept writing down bones I have to pick because there were so many stupid replies to tweets over the weekend. So here's the next one. And this has football on it, so I think you'll like it. There was one fan complaining all about how MLB can't do what the Chiefs did by keeping Patrick Mahomes, and gave just the ultimate alley-oop to me and some others. I'm like, Bobby Witt Jr. just signed a mega contract. He is Kansas City's, the Royals, Patrick Mahomes. That is exactly how our sport works.
Equal.
To a T. Now, you can have Bobby Witt Jr. and still be terrible, just like you can have Ohtani and be terrible on the Angels, etc. Completely different sport. That sport is built off quarterbacks. Our sport is built off teams.
By the way, we had Pat Mahomes, his dad, on at the golf tournament we were at a couple weeks ago. Can we discuss Patrick Mahomes flopping like LeBron James and some of the NBA guys? Like there was some stuff I didn't get to watch.
The one where I saw that play where
he was like running out of bounds and he slowed down and the guy like barely touched him and he went flying. And there was the one play. Even Troy Aikman at one point was like, "This is ridiculous." There was the one where they said he got hit in the face and the guy didn't even touch his face.
No, the
roughing the passer led to 7
into
points.
Each other.
Yeah, and they called a penalty.
Yes,
but the one where he was running out of bounds and he slowed down and the guy like just barely was like, "Oh," and he went flying and threw the ball in the air. It was funny. Troy Aikman was even like, "All right, guys."
Yeah,
no.
it was getting weird and soft.
But I mean, I understand. Listen, he's playing within the rules, so I get that.
No, he is, but it's a glitch, and it's a tough watch when it's going on like that. It is. It's a tough watch. They're gonna have to fix it, or maybe not, because they want to protect the real estate, the guys that are making the league money. But anyway, Bobby Witt Jr. is not leaving Kansas City because he signed a mega deal with the Royals. Now, the Royals haven't done much this offseason because last year...
Yeah, but they're in a good spot.
They are in a good spot. And also last year, they wanted to add to the team. They also were trying to get the city to pay for a new ballpark. That was part of what they were doing. Right or wrong, that's what they were doing. So anyway, they're fine. Just wanted to point that out. That one was hilarious. I was like, really? They have their bad? No.
That was easy. That was an easy one.
I know. I was like, give me a tougher one, please. Like the guy who said, I'm rooting for the Dodgers because we have a Dodgers show. And I was like, well, we
also have 12 other shows.
I was like, pretty soon I'm going to be rooting for...
I don't root for Ken, and he has
everyone? A show. Yeah. I was like, am I going to be rooting for every team? So that guy shut up.
It's going to be great.
All right, we'll be right back.
It's going to be great.
Scott was on fire this weekend. I have to give him credit.
I was. Did you read them all? I
didn't read all of it, but I read some of it.
I was going in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. All right, here we go. We got great coverage of the Cubs. Of course, we're also on Marquee, their TV channel, but we have Northside Territory, which had an awesome interview with Justin Steele. We have to get him on. He was really freaking good. I had not heard him in a longer format, and that episode's available. He talked about Sosa. He talked about not getting signed long-term. He talked about what he's working on for the season. That dude can talk. He's good. So I'm going to put him high on the list and say, hey, dude, you got to come on our show. Anyway, let's lead off with what many fans were asking us about. So Cubs owner Tom Ricketts was saying that, he's basically getting unfair criticism from fans. He said, when I have a fan come up and say, hey, you're cheap, open your wallet or something like that, I just think they're misinformed. They think somehow we have all these dollars that the Dodgers have or the Mets have or the Yankees have, and we just keep it, which isn't true at all. What happens is we try to break even every year, and that's about it. Does anyone believe that?
Show us the books.
Don't we play this game every year?
Show us the books.
Remember John Angelos?
Show us the books.
John Angelos goes, I'll show you the books.
He never did.
He never showed the books.
Show us the books. The Braves have to show you the books.
How are the Braves doing?
Braves are doing great. And they're still making a bunch of money.
Google the Braves and look up their profit margin this past year. Okay? You can literally buy stock in the Braves. Look up how much money they made in profits. Okay? And now there's one other game that we like to inform people about because most shows won't. And we're actually very privy to this information. Most teams will own lots of things based on their prime real estate, which is the team they own and the real estate that they own or at least have a deal with the city for. They then start to buy hotels, restaurants, you name it, right?
This is a great tweet, by the way.
Third most expensive game day experience in MLB. You own your TV network, massive fan base, merch, sportsbook attached, the neighborhood, the whole thing. If you're breaking even, you're a terrible businessman.
It's true.
Teams like this are making wads of cash for sure with all of the assets built around the franchise. Again, we are not going off hearsay. The Atlanta Braves have to publicly report how
Derek
much they're
said they
crushing
made $291 million this year through November.
Okay, well, I need to see the source.
But no, that's probably
a number out there.
That's probably not including what they spent on the back end. That's
Okay.
probably just
just the player salaries.
Just the net. No, that would be net gross profits.
Whatever. The number's big. I'm not going to play the numbers game and act like I know the exact number. Nobody. Well, the accounting does. But they're doing fine. The Braves are doing freaking fantastic.
If the Ricketts were not making money, they would sell the Cubs for what, $3 billion?
If you owned a team that was bleeding money and you couldn't withstand it, wouldn't you sell the team? Like, what?
Yes.
My thing is, like, let's take one step back here, Kratz. What is the point of owning teams like this? I know that you can make money off them. There are other ways to make money. Don't you want to win? This is the problem that is surfacing around the Dodgers. They won the World Series. They signed Ohtani. They made money off winning the World Series. They made money off Ohtani all season long. They decide to reinvest in their product. Not every team can reinvest the same amount of money, but there are other teams that will win a World Series and then pump the brakes the next season. The Texas Rangers, example A. They did not need to pump the brakes the way they did. Now, were they going to win a World Series the year after? Probably not. But I'm saying this is a team that's actually saying we need to push our chips in. And like Alden Gonzalez said on our show earlier, he didn't even think that the 2024 team heading into the playoffs was a good version of the Dodgers that we've seen. And they won. So add this all up. Why are the Mariners quiet? Why are the Twins quiet? We know because they can't do anything because they're in a freeze until the team gets sold. We can go team by team on what's going on here. Some push their chips in, try their best, and there's waves to this. The Mets spent a freaking ton of money. 2 years ago was the biggest payroll of all time? How did it go for them? They didn't even make the freaking playoffs. Frank McCourt owned the Dodgers for a long time. Spent plenty of money on payroll. Team was a joke.
Mic drop. I mean, I don't really have anything else other than what AJ was about to say. Like, if you're losing money, sell the team. Or if you're losing money, it doesn't matter because we're trying to win. But if you're breaking even, why are you keeping it? They're not breaking even. We need to get that through fans' heads who are mad at the Dodgers. Take some of that ire. Maybe you're jealous. But take some of that ire and push it towards your ownership for not spending more. Because if, salary cap needed, the Dodgers are unfair, all this stuff, all of a sudden your team's going to find money to start spending. So where's that money now? They don't want to spend it. And they're still going to be profitable if the bottom feeder teams with the payroll have to spend $180 million a year. If the floor is $180 million, whatever it is, they're going to get up there, and they're not going to have to borrow money for it. They have it.
I agree. Listen, the Cubs aren't losing money. Okay? They bought basically that whole neighborhood they own, all the way, like they own basically the whole block around the whole. There's a fire station, which obviously they can't own because it's owned by the city. It's a fire station. They bought all the rooftop buildings, right? They bought the McDonald's that was across the street and put a hotel.
And that hotel's awesome.
That hotel's where teams stay. A lot of the teams stay at. I mean, they probably don't own the Cubby Bear, which is across, some of the bars across the street. But they own basically they chopped out that whole side and have concerts and everything there.
Mm-hmm. And this is
they have a whole thing.
Yes, and this is what teams should do, and most teams are trying to do this. Another example, because I remember I got this laid out to me very well, and how the Mariners are crushing it with some bar or restaurant they bought across the street, and they're like, it's crushing on Biz, and it's perfect because they buy it, they take the loss on the buy, and then they split it off, and now it's not part of the team anymore. They own it, and that's their right. That's fine. But same thing. John Stanton, owner of the Mariners, can't go walking around saying, I'm dying here. I'm losing money, guys. I can't withstand this. They wouldn't own the team if that was the case. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of the education of the economics of the game. And really, it's best to not say much in this scenario, okay? It's just best
I disagree. Say it. I love it. Say it. You're talking about as an owner?
I'm saying if you're an owner, right, and you're saying, like you're John Stanton and the Mariners, and you're like, oh man, we're not making as much off TV, so we're struggling. We can't withstand what we're doing here. So I told Jerry DiPoto the payroll has to stay the same. You want him to say that?
I mean, I want him to. Like the people around him don't. Like he has to say, I love that. I love that these guys are coming out and saying it because eventually somebody's gonna be like, all right, I will open my books.
No, they won't. No, the only thing that
no one has opened their books yet.
Yeah, they will never open books unless it's public.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And then you're Jim Pohlad and you sell the team, which is fine. He's going to make $1.7 billion off an asset they bought for what? And great for you. But a billionaire ownership group in Phoenix that will likely get that team, in my mind, will take it over, and they'll be like, you know what? We looked at the books. We can easily handle like a $200 million payroll and be a freaking force in this division year after year. So let's do that. We'll make that money back in the playoffs too. So we can actually really crush it with this team if we care more about the long-term plan. All right, we'll get to the team that won a couple of years ago as we're going to do our team previews heading into spring training. First team, the Texas Rangers. Evan Grant joining us next. We did a poll in the YouTube chat. Is having a super villain good for baseball? 88% of you said yes, 730 votes. I get it. Some of you watching either now or later on are going to be like, this show is flooded with Dodgers fans. Okay. I mean, I feel like there's other fans out there that are going to be really excited when their team beats the Dodgers, whether it's in the regular season or especially in the playoffs. If they don't win, you're going to get such a dopamine rush from the rest of Major League Baseball.
That's what I'm saying. Who's going to be the team?
Yeah. They're not
Think
going
about
to win
how
every year.
much more excited Erik Kratz is going to be if the Phillies beat the Dodgers in the NLCS.
Yeah, they're not going to win every year. Tell me
man,
I'm
we
wrong.
took down the Dodgers.
Tell me I'm wrong. We're suddenly going to get a team that's going to win year after year? No way. It hasn't happened in so long. We haven't seen it since the Yankees, and we've been fooled before. Now, could a team finally win back-to-back World Series titles?
It's going to happen eventually.
It's going to happen eventually. But to think that we're suddenly going to see a team rattle off win after win at the end of the season and be at the top of the hill and the same team as that team, no, I don't see it. Not based on the way our sport is constructed. And you know what the biggest defense against that is, Kratz? Arm injuries. Our sport has an arm injury epidemic. Mm-hmm. So guys fall like flies. And all of a sudden you look at the Dodgers last year and you're like, they don't even have a freaking starter for this game. They're going bullpen game. And the Padres choked. Their bats choked. They should have knocked them off.
Most of our fans for this show are White Sox fans anyway. So if people are worried that they're all Dodger fans, they love watching AJ.
It's true.
They love those supervillains. The White Sox were supervillains in 2005.
No, we're a Cinderella story.
Cinderella story.
Wire to wire, kids. Wire to wire.
All right, Evan Grant joining us in like 30 seconds.
Remember my Ricketts story? Are you wrong? It's not bad, but one day I'll tell it on here. My Tom Brady.
Dallas Morning News Rangers beat writer Evan Grant is preparing for the 4 storylines that will define the Texas Rangers in 2025. Evan, great to have you back on. We're going to get to business in just a sec, but first, how you doing? And are you ready for spring training?
I'm not ready for spring training. I just have the rest of my 3 weeks before I go to Arizona to enjoy that as I check my phone indiscreetly here.
Yes, you can, aside from these 10 minutes. So we're going to get to biz here. We're going to do this.
Let's get to you guys' storylines. I can't wait to hear what AJ's storylines are for the Rangers.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start because it's kind of nice and simple. Let's dive into the top 4 storylines for the Texas Rangers heading into the 2025 campaign. Number 1. All right, here we go. Evan Grant, you're all over this team. So tell me how the hangover is over, because last year was rough. They didn't make the playoffs after winning the World Series the year before. Do you feel like the Rangers are set to compete for another World Series title? And you can also mix in how you think the division not improving much should help their cause.
Yeah, I think we're sponsored by BetMGM here, so I'm not going to mention anybody else's odds, but I saw their over under at 85.5 for this year on wins, and I think that's about accurate. And I think that 86, 87 wins might be what wins this division. It's not a greatly improved division from top to bottom, but I do think the Rangers made a significant number of targeted improvements. I think there was a hangover last year, guys. I do think that there was. I think that in today's day and age, with as long as the offseason goes, as many rounds as there are, and particularly when you are on a team that has never won before, there are some things that make the offseason shorter, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to bounce back. And I think the Rangers did have some trouble with that, but I also think that there were a number of injuries that really contributed to that. And that, for me, is where I think this team is significantly different. They've addressed the starting rotation. They've addressed some issues in the bullpen in terms of overhauling that. But I think when we get down to health, guys like Josh Young, guys like Evan Carter, those were two guys that they missed in their lineup significantly, and I think that made a big difference in their lineup last year. I think this team is healthier and better prepared to attack the 2025 season.
Ooh, health. I love that you said health, because is DeGrom going to come back this year and be the guy? I mean, you let it right in there for me. I appreciate that. Is he going to be the guy? Is he going to be the guy, and will he stay healthy? And do they have a plan to keep him healthy?
Erik, that was a cookie, right? I gave you a cookie right there.
That was easy. Yep.
Yeah. Listen, we talked to DeGrom on Saturday. The Rangers had their fan fest on Saturday, and they tried to pin Jacob down on what he thinks he can do this year. I think that the one thing he did allow was he's free. He's actually thrown a bullpen already this winter. He is, and I think his mind is clearer than it's been in years. I'm not certain that even when he went to spring training in 23 with the Rangers after doing the free agency deal and everything that was involved there, I'm not so sure that there wasn't something in the back of his head thinking, I don't know if I'm 100%. I do think he feels that way now, but I also think that the Rangers do want to take some, I don't want to say precautions, but they want to monitor him here. I don't think they want him to go all out and then have to shut him down for a period and then start him back up. So I think it's going to be a fairly gradual buildup. I won't be surprised to see Jacob come out to start the season if he's healthy, make a 3 or a 4 inning start a couple of times through the rotations, and more slowly build up. I don't think it's unreasonable right now to think that Jacob deGrom could make 25 starts for this team. Am I going to put him down for an every fifth day starter, 30 starts? Do you do that for anybody anymore? Really? I mean, I don't think you can. But I do think that this is a guy, he didn't lose anything. I mean, when he came back last year, he was throwing 97 to 100 in September right out of the chute. So I don't think that he's lost anything stuff-wise. I do think that mentally he's in a better place to go out and attack the season, and he feels like he's got some real definition that, hey, everything is now okay and completely rebuilt.
On the same note, forget just Jacob deGrom. What about Mahle? What about Kumar Rocker? Right? Even Bradford you could throw in for this starting rotation. It's not just deGrom they're counting on being healthy. They're counting on other people coming back. Are they going to be able to join Jacob deGrom and be healthy for the season?
Well, that's why I think, they had made Nathan Eovaldi their number one offseason target, and that's why I think it was important to bring Evo back, because they did need to add at least one starter. But I think that this team goes into spring training with a deeper pool of healthy starters than it did last year. The one interesting name that you mentioned there is Tyler Mahle, and we only saw him make 3 starts last year, and then he was shut down. And we haven't gotten a chance to speak to Tyler this offseason. The Rangers say that everything is fine and full go, but he is a little bit of a mystery. Cody Bradford appears to be healthy. He came back at the end of last year and pitched well. But if you go to camp right now, you've got deGrom, Mahle, John Gray, Cody Bradford, Eovaldi, you mentioned Kumar Rocker, Jack Leiter, and then I think that there's a couple of minor league kids who are going to be in the mix fairly early in the year. They've got about a 9-man pool. I think that they could probably use another veteran non-roster option or two that they go to spring training with. But I do think that this is a team that's got more depth and more health going into spring training than it did a year ago.
Will Wyatt Langford take the next step into that elite draft pick? Was going to be rookie of the year? Is he going to take that next step? But along with that, as he's taking the next step, can Evan Carter come along with him and be the same Evan Carter, 3-2 Carter that he was in the playoffs or in the World Series in 23?
Well, I think I feel better about answering the Langford portion of the question first, Eric, because if you look at Wyatt Langford and you look at where he was last September when he was AL Rookie of the Month and AL Player of the Month with an over 900 OPS, we saw a player who did get off to a slow start last year, and I think there was some issue with his swing, and he was swinging a little bit too uphill, and it took a little bit of time to get out of that, but we saw a guy who finished really, really strong. And so I think that the Rangers, quite frankly, I think the Rangers are happier that if there was going to be some mismatch to his season, that he started out slow and made progress as the year went on rather than starting out fast and then all of a sudden couldn't figure things out. I think that what we saw in spring training last year indicated a kid who was really, really special. What we saw at the end of the year was a kid who had not learned his swing, but made the adjustments he needed to with his swing and was really giving pitchers a difficult time and finishing strong in what amounted to is really his first full professional baseball season. Because remember, he was a draft pick in 23 and went straight from Florida into the minor leagues. So I'm fairly confident that Wyatt Langford is an everyday star ready to ascend to a higher level this year. For Evan Carter, right. I think the bigger question is there's been 2 significant back injuries there, right? He's only 22 years old, and he's missed most of 2 seasons with back injuries. That's concerning for everybody. He spoke this weekend and indicated that he is, again, had no restrictions, that he is swinging well, he feels healthy, and he is ready to go for spring training. All of that said, the one thing that I don't think the Rangers have gotten a full answer on yet is how well Evan Carter can handle left-handed pitching in the big leagues. In a very small sample in 2023, didn't have any hits against left-handers. Obviously, that was the playoff race, and the playoffs, different level of competition. And last year, when he wasn't really healthy, he really struggled against left-handed pitching. So I think that's going to be the thing that the Rangers work him in a little bit more slowly on, is how he fares against left-handed pitching and how much he plays against left-handed pitching. But this is a kid who's got a good approach. He's got good strike zone recognition. And I think if he's healthy, we're going to see a kid who is certainly capable of a high on-base percentage. And I do think it's going to be a little bit of a work in progress as he gets more comfortable against lefties.
Well, of course Langford's going to work out. He went to Florida, but that's a different story. There it was. There's the eye roll I was waiting on. There it was. Okay, so we hit on this last year a million times. I saw you a million times last year doing Fox games. We beat this to death. This was
just a way for you to tell everybody how many Fox games you did, wasn't it?
No, I did a lot of Rangers games last year. Mm-hmm. They were defending champions, and when you're the defending champions, you get on the big Fox a lot. But the one stat we beat to death on here, we beat to death on Fox, was the Rangers couldn't hit four-seam fastballs. They were one of the worst teams in the league. How are they going to improve on that? I know Jock Peterson and Jake Berger have great numbers against those pitches, but how's the rest of the team going to improve on it? It's not like you wake up overnight and say, man, I got younger, and now all of a sudden my bat speed is quicker. So other than what they did, how will they get better against that pitch?
Well, look, for me, AJ, that's one of the primary storylines, right, is they were awful against the four-seamer. And I'm glad you brought up Berger and Peterson because those are two additions that I think were targeted with the idea of being able to really make some adjustments against the four-seamer. But I also want us to go back, Josh Young and Evan Carter are considered good fastball hitters. And these are guys that were out of their lineup for a significant portion of last year. So now all of a sudden you're talking about a difference of basically half your lineup for this year. And I do think that they feel like that stuff has been the bigger adjustment. The other thing I would mention is that it took all year for Adolis Garcia to really get kind of a hitch, kind of a bat cock out of his swing. And in September, he did show some results against the fastball. And he's never going to be a great fastball hitter. As strong as he is, really, he does most of his damage against breaking balls. But I do think he's not going to be as much of a liability against the fastball this year as he was last year. I do think that there is reason to believe that he'll make some strides there. In addition, I don't know what to make of Jonah Heim. This is the big mystery for me, because I think, in 2023, we were looking at a star catcher in the making, and last year he was one of the worst players in Major League Baseball. He's got to hit the fastball too. The Rangers are really pleased that he spent this winter working out with their guys, with their group, with Donnie Ecker and Justin Veely, the new hitting coach. So I think that they feel he's in a better position to go into spring training and attack the things that he needs to do.
Okay, so I have two questions for you before we let you go, Evan. These are no more on what we were talking about. One is a baseball question. It's about the Rangers, and it's about what they're going to do. Their new TV deal. Have you seen their new TV deal? And are you going to spend $100 to stream? Because they're the first team to really do this, aren't they?
Well, but I mean, ideally the Rangers would have announced all this at one time, but they're trying to do something that none of the other teams that went through this whole contract situation with Diamond went through, and that is create their own kind of version of a well-rounded regional sports network. And so the streaming platform is one thing. And last year, if your cable company didn't carry Bally, which is now, I guess, FanDuel, if your cable company didn't carry that, then you couldn't stream because the app would not allow for it. The app would not download. So now they've got this deal with Victory Plus, which does Dallas Stars and Anaheim Ducks games. So there will be without restriction in the Rangers viewing territory, a streaming option. In the next 2 weeks, I expect that they will announce a deal with cable/linear providers that will allow for people to get games as they did on Bally last year and on Fox Sports Southwest before that, without an additional charge. Now, their cable bills may go up, as they often do when premium packages are added, but I don't think that there will be a pay to stream situation for a lot of those people. I don't know that it'll encompass the entire 5-state area that they've got, but it will encompass some of that. And I also think that there's a possibility that, and we're going back to a decade ago when you were here, but this team had a weekly over-the-air package where they did a game on free network TV locally once a week. It was Friday Night Baseball here. I think there may be some semblance of that. And again, that would be spread out to their regional affiliates throughout the 5-state area. So they've got 3 different deals that they've been negotiating. And I think the one that came together first, or the one that they were able to most simply announce, was the Victory Plus thing. I think it does add some complication because like you, a lot of people are saying, well, they want me to pay $100. Well, I think the way the Rangers are viewing it is you'll have that option if you don't already get the games. It'll be a fallback.
Got it. Makes sense. Okay, that's fair. Now, you went on vacation this winter, did you not? Where did you go?
We went to Spain, man.
Where in Spain did you go?
We went to Madrid. We spent a day in Toledo, and then we went to Barcelona for 4 days. And I loved it. It was fantastic.
All right, what was your favorite part?
The food.
Was that the easiest question? Was that the easiest answer of all time? The food, but they don't have barbecue. They don't have barbecue over there.
I'm going to tell you this. The last night in Barcelona, I had so much paella and so many ham croquettes and so many different patatas bravas. I had seen something on the internet that advertised the best barbecue in Europe. So we went to this place, and my wife had a pulled pork sandwich, and I ended up having a burger because I didn't like the look of the ribs. And it was decent. It was pretty good. I don't know that I would say that it was my top 10 barbecue or burger places in the States, but it was certainly passable. And after all that other stuff for 10 days, it was a nice change of pace.
I mean, how much tapas did you have to order in order to fill your belly? Because you're used to going and getting the big barbecue with the brisket and the ribs. So you had to order 7 orders of croquettes, the Iberico ham. I mean, think about, you had to get a table for 6 just for you and your wife so you could fill all the tapases.
I didn't I didn't quite know how to compute, like, how many different tapas do we need to order here in order to fill my belly. It was an ongoing issue. And I think most nights we ended up ordering about 4 or 5, and my wife had some of one, and I wolfed down the rest of them.
Makes sense. All right.
There you go.
They have great food in Spain. If you haven't been, they have unbelievable food. And in Barcelona, they have like the world's best like bars in the world too.
Yeah, Barcelona.
Well, I mean, it's architecturally wise, it's stunning. I mean, to see the Gaudi architecture and to go from the sea up to the hills, it was really visually stunning. Great city to walk around in. Really, really cool place.
Well, Evan, welcome back and enjoy your time for a few weeks until we see you in spring training. Thanks for joining us, dude. Great to have you as always.
Well, I just released my Hall of Fame ballot, so now I'm going to go answer those questions on social media.
Homer. Ooh. You only went Homer on one of them for me. Only Homer on one.
Who?
Homer on 2. I gave you Mark Burley for crying out loud.
That wasn't a Homer for me. That was I'm saying Ian was your Homer pick. It's fine. I get it. I loved Ian.
Ian's definitely a tip of the cap. I think he's in the conversation. You know, I think the numbers may fall a little bit short ultimately, but I think he's in the conversation. For me, Mark Burley was a guy I feel strongly about because what's the most important stat for pitchers now? Innings pitched. And Burley had 14 consecutive 200-inning seasons. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, the appreciation factor because we can't get guys to throw
Kinsler
together.
got one more Hall of Fame vote from you than I did, Evan. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Well, he's keeping him in the conversation. Otherwise, all these guys fall off the ballot. I will give him that. Evan, thank you. Appreciate it. Good luck with the Twitter trolls.
Bye, guys. Take care.
See ya. Let's do this. Leo, BetMGM Futures, the 2025 Rangers win totals at 85.5. Okay. BetMGM thinks they're going to have a nice little bounce back.
This is a hard one for me because that's pretty close to right.
Good number right there.
Looking at their bullpen, counting on all those guys to be healthy for the starters. I think that's about right. I think they're, unless they make some moves, I think they're about a little over 500. I guess I'm going to take the under, but 85.5 is about right for me.
Under. I'm taking the under. I feel like for them to make it to where they made it for the playoffs 2 years ago, they had to absolutely mash. To get back to that level, you got to see a stark improvement from some guys. That's a tough level to get back to. The division, man, this is one where you might ask me tomorrow and I might be like, because I think they're still going to do some things this offseason because they haven't, which is good because they haven't done anything so far. Today, I'm taking the under.
Over 87.
Okay.
It's close though.
Yeah.
Some we feel really good about. This one's good. It's well placed. I feel good that they're going to be in the mid-80s, maybe high 80s, and that'll get me to where I want to go. Yeah, Evan Grant convinced me. Evan Carter, Wyatt Langford, Jake Berger, Jock Peterson. That's a nice little boost for the offense. Will the pitching be healthier? Will DeGrom even give me 20 starts? And if those starts look like Jacob DeGrom, I feel good about that. So it'll help the win total.
By the way, KT in the chat is saying we're tripping because she thinks it's an easy over. If health isn't an issue. Well, if health isn't an issue for every team.
There's always an issue.
There's always an issue with somebody.
There's no bad team now in that division. I think the Angels are even better than – obviously better than – I think they're better than last year. So there's no bad team to really rack up wins against.
Hey, look at this odds boost token to score a bigger payout with the big championship game tonight. Log in to the BetMGM Sportsbook. Activate your token. Add a wager on any – college football playoff game, which is just one now, $5 to $1,000 to your bet slip. If you win that playoff bet with the token applied, you'll score extra winnings. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Enjoy the game tonight if you're watching.
What do you got tonight? Real quick, you got 10 seconds.
Ohio State by 1 billion.
Oh, wow. There it is.
just to bring a little bit of peace and calm to
what kind of weeds were those in the picture? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. You're just noticing what?
I just was wondering. I don't know if producer lady picked certain weeds to go in there.
I think she takes care of them at least, though. They always look like really lush and
I know she must garden the
well
weeds.
watered. Yes, exactly. So the weeds today, just to kind of bring a little positivity, because there's a lot of angry baseball fans out there right now. Kratz asked this, and it got some attention the other day. Did Willie Mays Hayes actually touch third as he was scoring the game-winning run in Major League the movie? Watch the replay and discuss. So, Kratz, did you watch, and what did you see?
I think he missed it. I don't see the bag move enough. But since when the movie was made, we don't have enough. And it wasn't a World Series game. We didn't have extra cameras. I don't think he touched it.
So we can't get another angle.
There's no other angle.
There is actually another angle, okay? But you would have to do some serious digging. You would have to contact either Paramount or the director or somebody that has other cuts or other viewpoints of that scene, and then they can offer us a look at what happened. What do you think? Did he touch third?
He absolutely touched it. And by the way, Major League is a great movie, but Jake Taylor laying down the fake call your shot bunt, like why is Jake Taylor hitting second in that movie? That's all I want to know really is why was he hitting second?
It's a good call, but that's poor base running. Like you teach base running to kids, you got to hit the inside corner. It's the inside corner. Don't ever leave it up to the umpires.
I used to have a friend of mine who was a college coach at a small college, and in college they only sometimes have 2 umpires, so he used to actually teach kids to cut way in. Because both umpires, like say they bunted like that, they would both be looking at the first base. There's only 2 umpires. No one's watching. They got on third, and you could cut way in. He used to teach his kids to do that. It actually was kind of genius. Though. That's why you hate it because you didn't think about it.
No, I've seen it forever. There's tons of Bush League high school coaches that do that stuff. That is so Bush League. Come on, you're teaching kids to cheat.
And also, if
it's only cheating if you get caught, Kraft.
If someone catches them, though, one time,
it's cheating. Don't do that.
It could cost you the game. You take that risk.
Yeah. It scores you the winning run.
Also, is it cheating or is it just doing something that's not getting called?
Advantage. I don't try to break the rules. I just like to test their flexibility.
No, but it's not cheating. What they did was they didn't touch the bag and the call wasn't made. That's not their job.
I know.
It's the job of that league or whatever to actually make sure they're paying attention. Also, every league, I mean, maybe not every league, but often in high school sports, if someone's doing something wrong, then refs or umps get word and then they look out for it.
True.
If they're good at their job. If not, then a lot of dudes scored a lot of runs without touching third base. And that's the moral of this story here. So let us know your thoughts if you're catching this afterward, if you agree with Kratz or if you agree with AJ. Swinging right back to Slap. And also remember, Teoscar Hernandez joining Dodgers territory in like 10 minutes.
Grade the Phillies offseason. Give us just like for you, I know you didn't get many A's and B's in school, so the grading scale is A, B, C, D, and F. It's not just C, D, and F, okay?
Okay, yeah. I'm unfamiliar with the A's and the B's. I thought it was a decent offseason. Obviously, the Luzardo pickup is big. I mean, has the potential to be big if he's healthy. Jordan Romano is a guy who could be really good if he's healthy again, if he throws like he did a couple of years ago. That would be a real under the radar pickup for them. Obviously, it seemed like they were working with some, obviously the payroll is incredibly high, so you can't just keep spending and spending and spending. Maybe you'd like to have seen him do, 1 or 2 more things. For me, I wouldn't mind seeing another bullpen arm be picked up to give a little more certainty to the back end of the bullpen. But again, those guys don't grow on trees, and so I'd probably be somewhere in the B range. It was good. I wouldn't say it was great. I'd give teams that had a great offseason maybe an A. I think they still have to. I mean, you just have to have some players of value that are, maybe playing above their pay grade. And I think Alec is still in that threshold, if you will. Look, the guy drives in close to 100 runs, and I know he didn't have a great finish to last season, and it's understandable. Some people would call and ask, and I think the Phillies were willing to listen. I don't think it was a situation where they're actively shopping him per se, but obviously, as they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. So maybe there was some talk going on behind the scenes, but I don't think it was a situation where they were simply, putting him out there like, oh, we're going to, trade this guy because, we're going to get a haul back. I think they where they're at in the division, where they're at in sort of their timeline, this is a team that expects to contend. And I think you have to have a few players that are, under that $20 million, those superstar talents. You got to have some production from other places as well. And Alec's one of those type of guys.
Let's slap. I want to swing it back to the topic of the day. So first off, Roki Sasaki signed with the Dodgers on Friday. Did a breaking news show, had a number of guests. It was cool. It was great. You know what the next complaint might be about him? When the Dodgers sign him to an extension in like a year or two. I mean, they're not going to do it right away, but there are no concrete rules about how to play out the process.
No, once he's there, he's there.
Yeah, they're not going to do it right away for optics.
Well, they want to see.
Yeah, and
they want to see what if he comes over and God forbid something goes wrong.
Yes, but if he's good, they're going to throw money his way, and I think he is going to accept it. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this what Alden Gonzalez said about maybe there was a little under the table handshake?
That will extend you long term?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Any team could say, hey, listen, if you're really good, we offer extensions to players. Again, You're not skirting the rules.
I mean, if the Blue Jays didn't do this when they sat down with them and said, hey, we'll extend you, then they're just not, that wasn't very good.
Agreed.
Front officing.
If I'm sitting down with a team, Kratz, and I'm like, hey, tell me all about your franchise. Do you guys take care of your players? Do you consider extensions before free agency? Obviously, you're going to sit there and be like, hell yeah. If you're good, we'll extend you. We'll give you big money to stay with us. Why wouldn't you say that?
100%. And the predetermined idea, the pre-international slot money thing that we're talking about, look at all the other young international prospects that signed with teams. All this stuff was pre-negotiated. We talked about this. They've been talking to Roki Sasaki back when he threw almost back-to-back perfect games. Not just the Dodgers. Other teams have been doing it. So it's one of those things. You have to ask all that stuff. If you don't, you're doing your client a disservice or yourself a disservice if you're talking about just Roki himself.
With Ohtani and Sasaki playing footsie with the Blue Jays, they might be the two most disliked players in Canada. Remember, Ohtani got booed, I think, pretty hard last year. When Roki goes to pitch there, ooh-wee, they're going to sell that thing out, and they are going to just blast the boos all day. And you know what? Toronto fans, you deserve to do that because I don't think this part of the process was necessary. We went over it earlier on the show, which I think was very informative, but I never believed a thing. He had in his mind where he wanted to go. He played out a process that he's allowed to do, but he took the Blue Jays pretty far down the line to the point where they were even trading for international money. We're going to get into that on our Hot Sheet show on Baseball America YouTube channel later on today, but they went pretty deep. They thought they had a chance. Most other teams met with him, spoke to him, and had executives behind the scenes that told insiders who talked to them all the time, we don't have a chance. We're not getting the vibe like he's sitting there really interested in what we're selling. And I believe them.
I give him credit, though. I will say this. I give him credit. He didn't make it play out to the end. He made his decision. Once he got to his decision, he was letting teams know.
Mm-hmm.
So I give him credit for that. And I give him credit for going where he wanted to go. He got to pick where he wanted to go. He was basically a free agent.
Yeah.
Because every team basically could offer the same amount of money.
I think his camp could have played this differently. Like, I don't think you come out and say, yes, small market, and he doesn't care about being with other Japanese players and all this other stuff. I'm like, it's probably better to just not say that.
Yeah. I don't know.
It almost makes it like accusational, as if everyone else is crazy and they're talking to this guy saying, yeah, I don't believe that he actually wants to sign here. I think he has it made up in his head. Again, that's okay, but I just don't think you should be insulting other people's intelligence, telling them, no, he's considering all options.
Okay.
Not the White Sox. He deked AJ. AJ was really hoping this was going to be the
I totally thought he was going to come through for me.
It's okay.
All right, before I know it's been a sad day. Two things before we get off the air. Speaking of the White Sox, one, sad day. Jeff Torborg passed away yesterday. Those that don't know, he managed the White Sox, played best baseball player to come out of Rutgers, as Todd Frazier said, but also the father of my tag team partner and my good friend Dale Torborg, who I wrestled with in the ring many times.
Yeah.
Happy 60th birthday, Ozzie Guillen.
Oh, Ozzie's 60. All right, we're still here. So reminder to everyone with us right now, if you'd like to either watch or hate watch the Teoscar Hernandez interview, that is coming soon to the Dodgers Territory YouTube channel.
You know, more people actually tune in to watch things they hate than they do to watch things they like.
Oh,
really?
Trust me. I know.
Oh, so that's why supervillain teams are great for sports. Because you know how many people are going to be tuning into the Chiefs-Bills game on Sunday, rooting for the Bills to beat the Chiefs?
Tons.
And so they don't have to see Taylor Swift on TV anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever their excuse is that they want to use, they don't want to see Patrick Mahomes. They don't want to see Travis Kelce. They don't want to see the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But everyone's going to be rooting for the Bills except for Chiefs fans. Like the Yankees back in the day. Everybody tuned in to see the Yankees, not to see them win. They were hoping a team would beat them. So that's why the Dodgers, everybody's going to tune in to watch the Dodgers try to beat them.
It's human psychology, and there is some math to it. Sure, if the same thing is happening year after year, it does get a little annoying. But it is hard to create an atmosphere in the playoffs where the majority of the country cares about the matchup. So, to play to your point, in baseball, Kratz, if the Dodgers are playing a team, then now all of a sudden everybody has a horse in the race, right? If it's Diamondbacks, Braves, not everyone has a horse in the race. Right now, this coming season, if it's Dodgers, Braves in, say, the NLDS, you will have more people watching because there are the Braves fans, the Dodgers fans, and the Dodgers haters. That's the math. It's right.
Patriots for all those years. Everyone wanted them to see them lose.
A lot of people act like every single comment that comes out of our mouth means that we either like or don't like certain teams, which is always the problem with play-by-play broadcasters. I don't give a fuck who wins the World Series this year. I want to have a good time. I don't care. We're just talking about what's happening here, and it's just sports. For a few of you that got way too out of hand this weekend, replying to me.
I'm going to watch Dodgers Territory just to watch Alana swoon over Teoscar.
She loves Teo.
She loves her Teo.
He is a very entertaining dude.
He was great. They loved him there, and he loved being there.
And he loved being there.
Ohtani is pretty robotic. Teoscar Hernandez right away in camp last year was like, let's have fun, and I think it helped. So anyway, enjoy that. And then I'll be on Hot Sheet. Baseball America Show will also talk about Roki, Sasaki, and their top 100 prospects list is coming out soon. We'll get into that. Thanks, everyone. See you on Tuesday. Jameson Tyone joining us tomorrow.